Welcome to Yidris Thunderdome. Hope you're excited. As far as opening hand goes, this is everything that we want in opening hand for Yidris. We're going to keep in a heartbeat. We've got 4 lands. We've got a little bit of scry action for turn 1. In fact, let's go to get that going before I start rambling. So let's go and lead off with Temple of Deceit, and let's get the scry going. The scurry, the fever, the insanity, the descent. Shardless Agent. Do we want Shardless Agent? Yeah, I think we're okay with that. It gives us a turn 3 play to go for. Well, if we end up going for Nature's Lore, let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. I'd like to get a little bit of ramp, and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yes, we're playing Yidris, the Maelstrom Wielder, the man who rides on a horse with no name. Trample, whenever Yidris deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade, and that does not count for spells out of your graveyard. I did that one time. I was like, all right, we got this set up, but it will not count. You have to cast them out of your hand because that's what it says on the card. Let's go and crack Scalding Tarn, and let's grab a green source. Let's go and grab Tropical Island. Let's get down Tropical Island. Let's go for Nature's Lore. And that'll allow us to get down Stomping Grounds. Yeah, I think I like it. Yeah, we've got Overgrown Tomb and Steam Vents in the hand, so we'll grab Stomping Ground, have that come into play. Not going to pay 2 life, and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. But if you don't know what Cascade is, so let's say that we cast a spell that costs 5. Cascade is, you're going to flip until you hit a card that costs 5 or less, and you get to cast that spell. Playing against Kumena, or at least costs 1 less. Tap and untap Merfolk you control. Kumena cannot be blocked this turn. Then tap 3 untap Merfolk you control, draw a card. Then tap 5 untap Merfolk you control, put a +1 counter on each Merfolk that you control. Let's go ahead. Either way, we're going to have to shock. So let's go and shock in Overgrown Tomb. And let's go and get down Yidris. That's going to be in black, red, blue. And then I always somehow click the wrong one. I always end up with the wrong mana. All right. Anything else? Kick it back over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. It is free time. We can talk about whatever we want. That's going to be the Thunderdome. So I've made a few changes to the Thunderdome deck. If you've seen this deck in the past, it used to be a pretty heavy, what just happened? Oh, Expel. It used to be a pretty heavy Storm deck. It's not a Storm deck anymore. But we'll still have a few Storm cards in here. But for the most part, it's basically kind of shifted into a little bit more of a value deck. And so hopefully we can kind of talk about some of the cool stuff in here in just a second. Let's go and get Yidris down again. Yeah, we can still get down Yidris. Let's go and Shock and Steam Vents. Let's go and get down Is It Signet? Let's go and tap Overgrown Tomb, get down Signet. It's going to be 1, 2, green, and then black. Get down Yidris again. And then we're going to go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. But yeah, so it had a really heavy Storm build in here. We still have the core components of the Storm cards in here. Stuff like Cabal Ritual and Dark Ritual, kind of helps us turn out some stuff a little bit quicker than normal. And we still do have Empty the Warrens and Tendrils of Agony and Aetherflux Reservoir. So we still kind of have that core Storm build. But I kind of backed off a lot of the tutors and just kind of made it a little bit more of a kind of a good stuff deck. We've got, what's her name? Tatyova's in here. Added a few other, I had a really heavy Delve element to the deck, but I found that there's a lot of times to where we just really couldn't get the Delve going, at least by the time we were swinging it with Yidris, and so I just kind of shifted it into more of just kind of a card draw deck, which I'm really excited about. I like it. All right, so we got the Merfolk swinging in for 3. That will put us down to 20, and then let's see what else we draw into. If not, at least we're going to be able to swing across next turn with Yidris and be online for that Cascade. Howl of the Horde. Okay. So what we can do is we can actually end up going for Wheel of Fortune with Howl of the Horde. Let's do this. Let's go and swing it with Yidris first, and we'll see how we want to sequence this, because I'd love to get down a 1,000-Year Storm if possible. Let's go and swing it with Yidris. It's going to put our opponent down to 25, and that will be the Cascade trigger off of Yidris. So basically at this point, we can go for Howl of the Horde. This is going to give us double Wheel of Fortune, which is nice, but I'd almost like to save it for 1,000-Year Storm. Well, actually, now that I think about it, we could have gotten that Nature's Will and swung in. Sorry, that was a little bit of I was trying to figure out how we wanted to sequence the back end of this turn, and I just completely whipped over on Nature's Will. Let's do this. Let's go and get down 1,000-Year Storm. That way we're set up in a really good position to end up with just a crazy spell board state. So let's go and get down 1,000-Year Storm, and we still get that Cascade going too, which is pretty nice. And 6 mana spell is always good. And talk about how, you got a 1,000-Year Storm. Imagine getting a Cascade off of a, oh, where's the Lightning Greaves? They were hiding. Let's get it down here. We're going to go and cast Lightning Greaves. And then that'll give us some good protection for Yidris. But always like imagining the, 1,000-Year Storm's already bad enough anyway, but then you get that extra Cascade off it. And you can only imagine that's like a tornado forming into another tornado. I know, it's such a good card. All right, then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So, we have a 1,000-Year Storm on the battlefield. If you're not familiar with this card, it's a new card from Guilds of Ravnica. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. Then you get to choose new targets for the copies. So basically, we cast Howl of the Horde. It's going to copy that one. Go for Wheel of Fortune, copy that. And so you end up with these... just ends up some really crazy kind of storm spells, some spell slinging. We don't really have any storm cards in our hand, but with Rishkar's expertise, Howl of the Horde, we can get some pretty good stuff going. So let's see what our opponent rolls out. They only, oh man. Our opponent drew into Reclamation Sage. That's a bummer. I mean, you got to get rid of that. That's one of those cards that if you leave that unchecked, it's just absolutely silly. And we're still doing it in a pretty good position. We've got Howl of the Horde into Wheel of Fortune, which is nothing to be ashamed of. We do have Temporal Trespass too, which is another way for us to kind of take a little bit of an extra turn and to take advantage of exiling stuff out of our graveyard. So if we actually want to go for Wheel of Fortune, Howl of the Horde, we can certainly go for that. All right, so our opponent swinging across for one with the River Sneak. It's going to put us down to 29. And let's see what we hit. Draw 2 islands. Let's go to get down island. So at this point right now, that's going to be 1, 2, 5. It's going to be 6. It's going to take their entire board to deal with Yidris. Or if we want to, we can straight up just go for Rishkar's expertise at this point right now, and then go for Wheel of Fortune, or go for Nature's Will and then swing across. That'd be us kind of doing it backwards, because basically that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll still get in for 1 point of trample damage. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's get down Nature's Will. So we're going to go for Nature's Will. That way we get to untap our lands. We can kind of save some extra mana. Unfortunately, we don't have any, excuse me, any sort of instant or sorceries. But let's go and swing in with Yidris. We don't have any instants to take advantage of that floating mana is what I meant to say. Let's go and swing it for a 5/4. And this is definitely one of those decks that, if Yidris goes back to the command zone, that's fine. And the main thing is we want to get that trample damage and get that Nature's Will trigger and get the Yidris trigger. Okay, and we're actually going to get both of them. So let's put the Nature's Will trigger on the stack. We're going to get the Yidris trigger, and that's going to leave us completely open. And now if we end up going for a Howl of the Horde, and then go for Wheel of Fortune, I think I like that. Let's do that. Let's go for Howl of the Horde. We're going to be able to cascade into something. The Canopy Cover, which we cannot cast on. No, we're just going to click no on that one, unfortunately. And let's go for Wheel of Fortune. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we're going to get the Wheel of Fortune Cascade, and this will make this deck fun. Ooh, Assassin's Trophy. We could, let's see, can't be blocked. Let's go and take care of River Sneak, just in case that they do something with it. Get a bunch of counters on it, so we'll definitely go for the Assassin's Trophy on that. So we're going to draw 7, and then Limdil's Vault. Unfortunately, we don't have any extra mana for that, or Distortion Strike. Okay, Cyclonic Rift, Thought Flare, Temporal Trespass. Oh, that's a bummer. I was hoping we'd catch Temporal Trespass on the back end. But, yeah, that's fine. We still have Eternal Witness, so if we run into Eternal Witness, we can bring it back. And that's still pretty good, what we've got at this point right now. Okay, we do have Vampiric Tutor, so do we want to cast Vampiric Tutor? That would put us in a position to where we might wheel into Wheel of Fate. I think we're okay with that. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go for Vampiric Tutor. We're going to get to Cascade either into Ancestral Vision or Wheel of Fate, and then we'll see what's going to happen. Alright, Wheel of Fate. I think we're okay. This is going to be Time Twister. Do we want a Wheel of Fate at this point? You know what? I think I like holding on to Time Twister. We've only got 15 cards in our... Or, excuse me, yeah. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, we're fine whiffing on Wheel of Fortune, because we can use Vampiric Tutor to put something on top, or even go for something like Yawgmoth's Will to be able to cast stuff out of our graveyard. You know, let's go for Empty the Warrens. It's always nice to have a Storm card in your hand, especially, let's say that we can't get down Yidris. At least drawing into Empty the Warrens, that's going to allow us to go for something like Frantic Surge, Careful Consideration. We can even target one of our opponent's creatures with Artful Dodge, and then hopefully kind of end up with a really nice kind of Goblin board state. So we're going to put that on top. We maybe could have grabbed something else differently. Unfortunately, we don't have Mizzix Mastery in this deck. That would definitely be something that can allow us to go for, to start casting all the stuff out of the graveyard. I did think about going for Yawgmoth's Will, but I think at least having some sort of Storm card to kind of keep up with these merfolk is something I really like. Okay, so we got Miss Cloaked Herald swinging across. It's going to put us down to 15. And then Yidris does cost 6 out of the command zone. So let's see. We're going to draw into Empty the Warrens. It's going to get down Bayou. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we still have Nature's Will to go for. We can untap our lands. Yeah, let's go good. Let's go for Yidris. And then if we go for Artful Dodge, that'll make it to where it can't be blocked. Yeah, that's good. We'll go for Temple of Deceit, go for Yidris can't be blocked, and we'll put Lightning Greaves on Yidris, and then next turn, or at least on our second main phase, we'll be able to get some really good Storm stuff going. All right, let's go and swing across with Yidris, and that's what makes this deck so much fun, is you end up with some crazy board states or some spells that you start slinging, but there's sometimes where you can just get some really good commander damage going too. All right, so we're going to get the Nature's Will, and Nature's Will is so good in this deck. You can see how potent it is, allowing us to untap all of our lands. We are at Storm Count 2. Let's go for Frantic Surge. We're going to be able to draw 3 cards and then discard 2 cards. And we'll see what we cascade off of in Frantic Surge. Yeah, we're going to cast Rakdos Signet. And at this point right now, we're going to get rid of Blood Mist, and we'll get rid of Aqueous Form. Actually, we're going to get rid of Arid Mesa. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we already made the land drop for the turn. So we'll get rid of Arid Mesa. Let's untap 3 lands. Let's go for Rakdos Signet. Let's go for Careful Consideration. And see what we cascade into. We're going to cast Farseek. Taiga's going to enter the battlefield. We're going to get 3. Actually, we're going to be able to draw 4 cards off of Careful Consideration and discard 2. Assault Strobe. Yeah, actually, we can get rid of Aqueous Form, and we'll get rid of Marsh Flats. Let's go for Assault Strobe on Adaptive Automaton. No, excuse me, we need that last red mana for, yeah, well, either way, we're okay. Empty the Warrens at this point is still pretty good. So let's go and go for Empty the Warrens, and we'll get an extra cascade off of that. If we had held on to Aqueous Form, we could have put it onto one of our opponent's creatures. All right, so we'll get the cascade off of Empty the Warrens. Cast Kodama's Reach. Hopefully we still have some bait. Yeah, we do. Okay. Let's go and grab Mountain. Let's go and grab Swamp. Let's go and put Swamp onto the battlefield, Mountain into our hand. And then we're going to get the Empty the Warrens. It's always, oh, there we go. Look how beautiful it is. Get a ton of goblins on the battlefield, and then we'll click OK. And then there we go. Anything else? We're going to go and pass the turn. There we go. It always feels funny after you do a huge Yidris turn, and you just kind of pass the turn to your opponent. Like, yeah, there you go. But yeah, this is kind of what the deck wants to do. You can see how much value stuff we kind of cascaded into, getting down these signets, and then really utilizing something like Nature's Will, and simply just going for something like Empty the Warrens. You get a ton of goblins on the battlefield. That's going to help us kind of stop these merfolk from swinging across. It kind of puts our opponent in this position to where they almost need to kind of get down Kumena and really get some good card advantage to kind of stop what we've got going on. But at this point right now, we do have Brawl's Expertise, so we can actually bounce a lot of these creatures back to their hand. And with us going for Assault Strobe, we might be able to close it out. We'll see. We do get an extra cast off of Brawl's Expertise, and this is definitely one of those hands where we might want to just, instead of waiting for Yidris' Cascade trigger, get down Rashmi, get down Brawl's Expertise, then cast Assault Strobe off of, Brawl's Expertise. All right, so we've got 9 and 2 swinging across with only 1 mana open. Yeah, because that's going to be 10, 14, that'll be 19. Yeah, we're going to let this come across because that's going to put us down to 11. That's going to be 11 damage, puts us down. Yeah, we're okay with that. It's going to put us down to 4, and they only have 1 blue mana up, so we're looking at something like Vapor Snag to kind of stop us. But yeah, we should be able to get it, especially once we go for Brawl's Expertise. Let's go to get down Mountain. Let's go ahead and go for Rashmi. So basically, this is what we need 9 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which we definitely do. So let's get down Rakdos Signet. Let's get down Rashmi. Let's go and shift the Lightning Greaves over onto Rashmi. Let's go for Brawl's Expertise. We're going to bounce Adaptive Automaton and then Kumena. And let's go and cast Assault Strobe on Yidris. Okay, so to send him back to the hand, we're going to be able to swing him with the entire crew. We could put... I've already clicked through this, so we should have probably put Lightning Greaves back onto Yidris to play around Vapor Snag, but that should be lethal swinging across. So definitely a good game. You can see how wild some of these games can be. And even though it's not 100% storm based, you can see where, simply just casting a bunch of stuff and getting down an entire board state of goblins is more than enough to make Yidris super happy. So we've got double strike from Yidris. That's going to be at least 10 right there from Yidris. And then get the Nature's Will trigger. And I forgot that with double strike and Nature's Will, you get a ton of land, so a ton of mana, so we could have actually added a little bit more mana for Factor Fiction to cascade into. But we're closing out, definitely a good game to our opponent. In fact, our opponent hangs out in our Discord a lot, or it's in my Discord, and so it's always nice to get to play against people who are fans of the channel, and especially from the Discord too. And if you've ever wanted to join, I do have a link down in the description below if you did not know that there's a Jolt Discord where you just talk about commanders. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed your time at the Yidris Thunderdome. If you did, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.